In this video I'm going to talk about trigonometry, the area of a triangle formula. But before I talk about the area of a triangle formula for trigonometry, I want you to recall that so far in your maths course you've learned how to work out the area of triangles using two other methods. The first method that you would be aware of is the area of a triangle A is equal to a half multiplied by the base multiplied by the perpendicular height. Quite often we write this as A equals half BH, where B is the base and H is the perpendicular height. Remember that if this is a triangle, that we could call this maybe the base. And if that's the base, then the height that we're talking about is the perpendicular height, which is the height that's at right angles to the base. So for example, if this base is 10 centimeters long, and this height here was 5 centimeters, the area of this triangle would be half the base, half of 10, multiplied by the height, which is 5. And when you do that in the calculator, you get 25 centimeters squared. That's one method. The other method that you would have learned is in coordinate geometry, but you guys haven't done that yet, so we'll leave that for now. So going on to the trigonometry formula, here it is. You've got a triangle, and if we call this side A and this side B, and this is angle C in between them, it turns out that the area of a triangle is half AB sine C. Now, some people might get freaked out with the letters and all that, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the formula a little bit. I want you to imagine that this is an arm. There's a hand on the end, and then here's another arm with a hand at the end, and someone is reaching out to give someone a hug. So their left arm goes out here, their right arm goes out here, they're trying to hug someone. And I'm going to call this angle in here, I'm going to call this the angle, the hug angle. So I sometimes call this the Hog Angle Formula. And what it is that the area of the triangle, the area, is equal to a half multiplied by one arm multiplied by another arm multiplied by the sine of the hug angle. Okay, so the hug angle, so it's equal to half times, in this case this arm is called A, in this one it's called arm B, and the hug angle here is called C, so half AB sine C. Now if you're still confused with this, let's do an example. Suppose I have a triangle that looks like this, and this is 40 degrees, and I tell you the length of this side is 10 centimeters and this guy is 15 centimeters, and I'm asked to figure out the area of this triangle. Well, the area is just going to be half multiplied by one arm, which is 10, multiplied by the other arm, which is 15, and notice these arms are meeting in the corner here, times the sine of the hug angle, or the angle between those arms, which is 40 degrees. And all we simply do is type this into our calculator. So make sure your calculator is on degree mode, and if I just type it here, it's going to be a half, which is 0.5 by the way, multiplied by the first arm, which is 10, multiplied by the second arm, which is 15, multiplied by sine, and I put the hug angle in, which is 40 degrees. Close my bracket and press equals, and up comes 48.209. Now to two decimal places that would be 48.21. So 48.21 centimeters squared. Let's do another example. So we call that example 1. Example 2. Suppose they gave us a triangle like this. Okay, and they told us that this angle here was 60 degrees, and they told us this angle here was 35 degrees. And they gave us this measurement here. They told us that this was 15 centimeters, and they told us that this one here was 21.2 centimeters. And our job is to get the area of this triangle. Now, be very careful here. We have a choice of angles. We know this angle, we know this angle, we know this angle. Which angle do we use? Well, it depends on what arms we know. We know this, the length of this guy is 15 centimeters. And we know this guy 21.2. And because they meet here, you can almost imagine your imaginary hands reaching out this way. This here would be the hog angle. So the area will be a half multiplied by this arm, which is 15, times this other arm, 21.2, times the sine of the angle between those arms, which is 35 degrees. And we just simply multiply this into our, put this into our calculator. So it's 0.5 bracket 15 bracket 21.2 times the sine of 35 degrees, and you press equals, and 91.19. So I'm going to round that to 91.20 centimeters squared. So there you have it. That's how to use the area formula in trigonometry. It's half multiplied by one arm multiplied by the other arm multiplied by the sine of the angle between the arms. So the angle must be between the two arms, like so. In the next video, I'll show you one or two more examples.